Hi, I'm Jim Thompson, and I really want to welcome you to this program. It'll last probably about 25 to 30 minutes, and we're going to talk about how you can get more and better referrals. I know I put in the link to this program that referrals are simple, and they are. Getting referrals is very simple if you know the secrets to getting referrals. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next 15, 20, 25 minutes. So I hope that you will listen. And if you need be, go back and listen to it again because there's going to be a lot of information. I'm going to go very fast, but I really am very appreciative that you are taking the time out of your busy day to listen to what I have to say. No, I'm not saying that attorneys need to go to confession. What this kind of illustrates, and sometimes I like using visuals, is you've got the attorney in the middle, and he's getting referrals from both on the right, a client, and on the left, I don't know whether you can see it, from another attorney. Simple as that. This comes as quite an eye opener to many of the attorneys I speak with. That is, there are two distinct classes out there that can give you referrals. I'm going to be very honest with you. I didn't realize this until I really started studying referrals, and that is why I wrote both of these books. One is how to get referrals from clients, and the other is how to get referrals from other attorneys. They are two distinct ways that you do this. There are some similarities, but basically the tactics and the strategies are different, and we're going to share some of those with you. Just briefly, I'd like to share with you some of the benefits of referrals. Now, I know attorneys are always telling me, yes, they get most of their new business from referrals, and obviously I totally agree with that. But a lot of attorneys I speak with, I ask them, well, what are the real benefits to you of referrals? And they really don't have a true understanding of all of the benefits. So let me just share a few of the benefits. The reason I wanted to share some of the benefits, and I'm just going to touch on these very briefly. Some of you may have heard this from me before or heard it from other sources, and that's fine. But if you haven't, let me just kind of set the stage, if you will, of what's going to follow. And from getting referrals, here's a lot of the benefits. Number one, there's no selling required. Somebody that's referred to you comes pre-sold. We all, as attorneys, hated the word selling. I did too, until I realized that, hey, wait a minute, we're always selling, no matter what we're doing. So selling, you don't have to sell. A referral comes to you pre-sold. Uh, this is an interesting thing. It enhances your reputation. If you're the type of attorney that's always getting referred to, think about what that does for your reputation. You're going to get more qualified clients. When somebody knows what you do and is referring clients to you, they're going to refer, hopefully, not all the time, but they're going to refer to you clients that are more qualified. There's no real pricing concerns because generally when somebody is referred, they understand they're going to be paying a fee and that probably have some idea what that fee might be. Clients who get to you by referral are usually a lot more loyal to you because they've come from referral and they're going to be a lot more loyal and they're going to refer other clients to you. Here's an interesting thing. You get to choose your clients. Wouldn't we all like to be able to choose who we want to represent? Well, when you start getting clients by referral, you get to make that choice. You just don't have to take everybody that comes in the door. Cost. Think about this. ROI. A lot of attorneys never even think about ROI. That's return on investment. What do you get for every dollar that you invest? And if you think about it, if you're doing advertising, you're doing pay-per-click and all the other stuff that goes along with it, you know what that costs. Do you really know what your return on investment is? You may not know. But here's the thing with referrals. Generally speaking, when you start getting referrals, your return on investment is very, very minimal. And then here's the other thing, kind of it builds up your ego, self-assurance. It goes back with the enhanced reputation. The more you start getting referrals, the more self-assured you are. the more you're going, oh, hey, you know what? I must be a really good attorney because I'm getting all these referrals. So here is the question. If referrals are so great for attorneys, why are or why aren't attorneys getting more referrals, their share of referrals? This is the simple answer, and I know it's true. Attorneys don't know how. They don't know how to get referrals, so what do? They do nothing. Or they hope and pray that someone will refer them. But as far as being proactive in getting referrals, most attorneys do not do anything. One of the things I like to talk about is what I call or refer to as the accidental referral. And I don't like to read off a slide, but I think in this particular case, it may drive home a point. And this is the accidental referral. For many lawyers, referrals are a coincidence, a fortuitous happenstance, a chance, or maybe just luck. But above all, they are a pleasant surprise. It is all at once delightful and mysterious. They are thrilled to have the easiest clients of their life fall right into their laps. But in reality, they do not even know how or why it happened. In many cases, they don't even know where the referral came from or when they will get another referral. So maybe this is a good time to ask you, are you getting accidental referrals? Do you know where your referrals come from? Do you have a plan to get referrals? In essence, how are you doing as far as getting referrals? And I think you need to just take a minute and think about that. How is your practice growing by way of referrals? And if you aren't getting the number of referrals you think you should be getting, and each practice is different, then you need to start thinking about changing what you're doing. I mentioned that there are two distinct classes, if you will, of referrals from clients and referrals from other attorneys. But having the proper referral mindset is a must for getting referrals from both of those classes. And here's what a referral mindset is. And I want you to think about this. You embrace referrals as the primary way to build your practice. It is a way of thinking. Everything you do will promote getting clients through referrals. Now, I want to make sure you understand. You're going to do other things to get clients, to get people into your practice. But when you start getting referrals, it's going to become your primary way to build your practice. Wouldn't it be great to be able to say to someone, I take new clients by referral only? Thinking about the medical providers that have said that. What would that do to your reputation when you were able to say, I only take new clients by referral only? I mentioned that there is a significant difference between client referrals and attorney referrals, and I want to talk about each and the strategies and the tactics that you can use for each. Again, there are some crossovers, but generally speaking, as I mentioned, getting referrals from clients and getting referrals from other attorneys, they are basically distinct. I've talked about your referral mindset in a general way, but with clients, and I want you to pay very close attention to this, with clients, you have to basically change your client's referral mindset. I want you to think about something. Your clients generally, unless maybe they're business clients, but generally, your clients do not understand that you want referrals. As strange as that may sound, they think you're doing great as an attorney, and they don't even think about giving you referrals unless, of course, you ask them. But we're going to get into that in a minute. But the bottom line is, so if your clients don't understand that you want referrals, you are going to have to be the one that changes your client's mindset. I can change your mindset, but I can't change your client's mindset. You have to figure out how you are going to change your client's mindset so that they will understand that you want referrals and how they can give you referrals. And we're going to touch briefly on that. But again, I want you to be thinking about this. Your clients, usually when they walk out the door, they may think you hung the moon. And they may say, you know what, I will refer everybody I come in contact with to you, and that's great. And they're out the door, and 10 minutes later, they forget all about you. And that happens. Trust me, it happens. And they don't do it on purpose. It's just the way life is. I know some of you have probably heard the adage that you have to have 3 words if you want referrals, or 3 words that are connected with getting referrals. That's to know, like, and trust. And I'm not going to go into each of those right now. But there's a third, or I'm sorry, there's a fourth word that if you want referrals from your clients, the word is teach. You are going to have to teach them how to give you referrals. It's not all that difficult, but it's something that you must do if, in fact, you want referrals from your clients. What I want to do is explore some ways to get referrals. That is, how can you change your client's mindset? Here is a brief overview because of time limitations when it comes to getting referrals from your clients. I know that might sound redundant from the previously what I said, but I want to just give you a quick, brief overview of things that you can do to get referrals from your clients. But first, here is a myth I want to explore with you. Great service will not get you referrals. Just because you do a great job for a client, that will not ensure that you're going to get referrals from that client. Now, obviously, if you don't do a good job, it's going to ensure that you won't get referrals. But just doing a good job, I don't know how many times I hear an attorney say, if I just do a good job for a client, they're going to refer me to everyone. It ain't going to happen. Trust me. One of the things that I see so often is that attorneys will abandon their clients. And I'm not talking in the legal terms of abandoning a client over a case or something of that nature. But once they finish with a matter, they basically forget all about their client and they go on to the next one. Hey, call up your past clients, have a coffee or lunch with them, send them a note. We'll talk about that in much more detail, but you know, they've developed a know, like, and trust factor with you. So why don't you use that to your benefit and to your client's benefit? I really like this slide, so I want to just kind of use it to drive home what I just said. And you can see this. You know, here's this little penguin. He's the client. You know, you've done all kinds of stuff. The client loves you. Look at, he's hanging around there. And here you are looking through that telescope or whatever you're looking through, looking for that next client. And here's the one client that loves you. And you're just totally ignoring them. So I want to impress this slide on your memory. So when you're thinking about, you know, getting business from clients, think about the clients that you have already done business with. And here's the other thing, and I'm just going to touch on it, and I don't have time to really go into it, but what do you think the long-term value of a client is? Think about that. Maybe I'll have time to touch on that, maybe I'll have to do it in another day, but think about that. These are 3 areas where attorneys can use to start that relationship that's going to guarantee that you're going to get more referrals. In the questionnaire and the exit interview, they kind of go hand in hand. And the reason I put they're separate, the questionnaire is more designed when you have a long-term matter, such as a personal injury case that can go on for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. And the exit interview is when you finally, you know, complete a matter for a client. So they're kind of tied in, and it just depends on when you want to use them. But one of the things that you should do with every client, whenever a matter is complete, or even in, say you're doing a long-term, PI case or something that's going to last long-term, estate uh, litigation or things of that nature. Talk to the client maybe once every month or 2 months, and just bring them into the office, kind of bring them up to date of what's going on, or whatever you feel comfortable doing. But one of the things that you should sit there and say to them, and the same, this goes with the exit interview, is, we are always trying to improve how we deliver our services to our clients. And can I ask you a couple of questions? And here's where you have a legal pad in front of you and you have some questions written out that you want to ask. But one of the most important questions is, how are we doing with you? And don't ever ask, what could we do better? Never ask that question. But what could we do that would make it easier for you to communicate with us? Never, again, not what we did wrong, but what we can do better. Testimonial letters. Everybody would like to get a testimonial letter. And quite frankly, every client would like to give you a testimonial letter if you do a good job. But here's what happens. John, would you write a testimonial letter for me? Oh, Jim, God, yes, I would. Oh, man, anything you want me to say, glowing, yeah. He gets out the door, 10 minutes, a week goes by. You don't hear from him. Here's how you get a testimonial letter. And it works 90% of the time. John says he's going to write a testimonial letter for you, right? And you don't get one in a week or two. So you call John up and say, hey, John, just curious, how you doing with that testimonial letter? Oh, Jim, I forgot. I was going to do it, and I you know how that goes. Sure, I know how you get busy, John. Can I help you maybe a little bit here? Could I write a letter for you? And, I'll send it over to you. You can make all the corrections and do whatever you want. But I will, I'll send you something. And that person will probably say, oh my God, in the back of his mind, oh, thank you very much. Sure, send it over and I'll take a look at it. 90% of the time when you send a testimonial letter over, you won't get any corrections back. You'll get it signed and back to you. One of the reasons for testimonial letters, and one of the reasons they're so great, if you can do it that way, is that you can get the person to say what you want him to say about you. You don't want some of the testimonial letters, oh, Jim was great, the coffee in his office was super, his secretary was wonderful. No, you want a testimonial letter that talks about the services you provide and how well you provided them. So you get to say exactly what you want to say. So think about getting testimonial letters. I literally, and I'll say this, a couple of websites I've looked at, and every once in a while attorneys will ask me to look at their websites, and I looked at a couple, and actually a lot more. And one of the things that just blew my mind is they had a section, testimonial letters or testimonials, right? And literally, here's what it says, coming soon. Don't ever do that. I know you've seen this slide come up and you've said to yourself, oh, of course I take my clients to lunch, but I want to put a little twist on that. And this just depends on the type of practice you have and the type of clients you have. But one of the things I would suggest, if you have a client that you really like and has really given you a lot of business, et cetera, you call the client up and you say something like, hey, Bill, I know your birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and you have really been good to us, good to our firm. I'd like to take you out for lunch. And then you say, but I really would like that lunch to be where you invite 3 or 4 of your closest associates to celebrate your birthday with you. And here's what happens. That never happens to anybody, right? So your client says, oh, that's great. And I say, well, just call them and we'll meet at such and such place at such and such time and all this other stuff. And we'll get it straightened out in the next couple of weeks. But you can tell them, they're invited to lunch to come to Smokey Joe's cafeteria at 12 o'clock on such and such, whatever, And you say, great. Now, you know what he does? He calls up 3 or 4 of his best friends and he says, you know what just happened to me? Unbelievable. My lawyer just called me and wants to take me to lunch. But here's what he wants for my birthday. But here's what he wants to do. He wants me to invite 3 or 4 of my closest friends. And that's what I'm doing with you. Would you come to this luncheon? Oh my God. Nobody's ever done that before. So you go to this lunch, right? And here's the thing. You got your client and 3 or 4 other of his best friends, and you get to meet them. First of all, now they may already have attorneys, and that's fine, but you know what they're going to do? They're going to tell their attorneys, hey, you know what Jim's attorney did for him? Bottom line is he took him to lunch and we got invited to it. Now, that may not change anything with their attorney relationship, but you know what? It may change something with the relationship they have with some of their other vendors, suppliers, clients that they deal with. When the word comes up, do you know a good attorney? Boy, do they know a good attorney. This is what you did for them. One of the other things that you can approach clients with, and again, this is a type of practice you have, is to teach them. And let me share how you can go about doing that. You talk to a client and you say, John, I've been watching you grow your business, and you have done one heck of a job, and I've seen how you get referrals. Could we sit down one day and just talk about, because I really want to learn how to grow my practice by way of referrals. And so, most people will want to share any information they have. And then you're into this conversation, you're talking about referrals, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can also share a couple of things I just taught you with them, like taking people to lunch, like interviews and things of that nature, whatever the case may be. So all of a sudden, you are teaching them and they are teaching you, and you cement a relationship. Some of the things I've talked about are going to take time for you to do. But here's something you can do right away that will start the referral mindset in your clients. And it's simply this, your voicemail message. And it can take you 2 or 3 minutes to do. And you go on and you record a voicemail. And I'm just going to give you an example. Hi, this is Jim. Sorry I can't take your call. By the way, if you were referred, please let me know who referred you so that I can thank them. What does that do? Right away, it sets up, and who's ever calling your office, getting that voicemail, is thinking, oh, I never thought about giving Jim referrals. I never thought about the referrals that I could be giving him. Now, maybe it'll work in some cases, maybe it won't. But I guarantee you, the people I have asked to put that on their voicemail have all reported back saying it's a fantastic thing. It takes you about 2 or 3 minutes. And the bottom line is, I've actually had a couple attorneys, actually a little bit more, call me up and say their clients have heard that. Can they go ahead and pass that on to their clients in other businesses? Whatever business they're in, not legal business. And after I tell them that no, I've got to copyright it, and it's about $100 a month that they can use it for, and there's a silence. I says, no, it's not mine. Use it. If that gets you clients, that is fine with me. As far as you're getting clients, if it gets you clients, I guarantee it's going to change their mindset, because they're going to understand you now have told them you take referrals. And you don't have to say anything else other than that. This is one of my favorites as far as getting new clients. And I don't have the time to really go in depth into it. And I will say this. If you want to know more about how to do this and how it works, go on my website and you'll get that information a little bit. And get one of my books. And it talks about the family lawyer. And basically it's simply this. The family lawyer, I have you as a client. Maybe I've done a PI case for you. And you sit down at the end of the, when you're settling up and all this, and you say to him, John, I want to share something with you. I want to become your family lawyer. And here's what I mean. Anytime a member of your family, a friend of yours has any kind of legal problem whatsoever, please call me. Because I have a network of attorneys that obviously I do the personal injury, but I've got a network of attorneys that I can help them with. And it is such an important way for you to let that person know you want to help them and help their family and help their family members and all. And when a personal injury client calls you up and says, my sister needs a divorce or is really having problems, you bring that person into your office along with his sister, and you say, okay, what's the problem? You take a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it takes, and you say, you know what? I don't do family law, but I have got just the attorney for you. And this is a process. It's not just going to happen overnight because you got to develop a relationship with other attorneys. But you say, let me call a really good friend of mine that does divorce law, and you get on the phone and you don't get the attorney probably, but you get a secretary and say, Susan, this is Jim, and I've got my client's in the office with him, one of my best clients, and he's here with his sister who has a divorce problem, a domestic relations problem, and I wanted to refer her over to John or whatever the attorney's name is, and can you have an appointment? Do you have an appointment you can set up? She comes back and she's on the phone and you're in the office with her, and she says, can she come in at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Look at her. Can you come in at 9? Yeah. Okay. See, she goes in at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Bingo. I've referred a client to an attorney. My client thinks I hung the moon because I helped his sister. His sister thinks I hung the moon because I helped her. And I add one other statement. The fact that you're going to see, my real good friend, Attorney John, on your divorce matter, he's going to not charge you a consultation fee. What do you think that does for that relationship with regard to your client and regard to his sister, say, and also you have referred to an attorney, a fellow attorney. And that's what it's all about, referring out and getting referrals in. Many times when I'm talking to a group of lawyers, there'll be some brand new lawyers pretty much in the group, and they'll raise the question, well, we don't know that many people, we don't have any clients now, things of that nature. And here's what I tell them. Let people know you are a lawyer. Your high school classmates, your college classmates, your parents. Let your parents know that you want them to tell people you're a lawyer, to tell their friends, to tell your relatives. And also, one other thing you might want to do is when you have classmates, maybe they're a year ahead of you, or maybe they're the same class as you, find out where they went to practice law. And then keep that communications open so that if they have something that comes up that their firm can't do it, maybe they know that they can refer that to you. But there's all kinds of things that you've got to think about, and it's really thinking outside the box on how you can get your name out there. I have some other ideas, but obviously my time is limited. We've talked a little bit about getting referrals from your clients. Now, what I want to do is change the way you think about getting referrals from other lawyers. I want you to think about what I said before about clients, and clients who know, like, love you, think you're the greatest. They may never ever come in contact with someone they can refer to you. However, this is just the opposite with attorneys. And again, this depends on the type of practice that they have. But attorneys, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, again, depending on the type of practice, have somebody that comes into their office that they cannot help. Somebody, you're a labor lawyer, right? And somebody sends you a personal injury case. You have no idea what to do with a personal injury case or a divorce case. So you have two alternatives. And that can come from any, a former client may think you're the greatest lawyer in the world, doesn't know what you do, sends you a divorce case or a personal or a employment case or whatever the case may be. Bottom line is that you get that person in your office and you're sitting there. You have two alternatives, right? You can either say, I'm sorry, I don't handle those type of cases, and go to your local bar association or whatever. Or you can say, let me refer you to a good friend of mine who handles that particular type of case. So this is where you need to be aware that you have a wonderful opportunity to refer cases to other attorneys that is not going to have any impact on your type of practice, and it's actually going to help you because you are helping that particular client. So attorneys, just because they're attorneys, if you will, come in contact with people that need help, as opposed to clients coming in contact with people that need your particular services. Generally speaking, an attorney knows what you do. Now, he may know you're a personal injury attorney, he may know you're an IP attorney or whatever, and he has a general idea. But think about this. Your clients may not know all that you do. And the reason I say that, you may be a personal injury case attorney and you handled an automobile case, but you really are a medical malpractice attorney. And what is the worst thing that can happen to you? You see a client that, you just thinks you hung the moon. You see him 6 weeks from now, a month from now, or whatever the case may be. And, you're walking down the street. Hey, John, how you doing? He says, oh, God, you won't believe my mom was in the hospital. Doctor screwed up an operation. And here you are, I think, a medical malpractice case. And come to find out, he gives it to another attorney. John, I thought you liked me. Well, Jim, I do. I loved everything you did for me. Well, why didn't you come to me with your medical malpractice case? I didn't know you did that. That's the worst thing. And I'll tell you, I had a personal experience with that when I was a young lawyer just starting out. But the bottom line is, most attorneys have a good idea what you do, so they know who to refer a potential client to you. This is a really interesting thing about referrals from clients. A client will go to an attorney, and that attorney can't help them. So the attorney says, I am going to have you go talk to a real good friend of mine who is an attorney that can handle what you need. Now, that client came to you because he trusted you. He had that trust in you. When he is referred out to another attorney, that trust in you is transferred to the other attorney. So, you don't have to worry about, fees. You don't have to worry about whether it's a good referral. You don't have to worry about a bunch of things, because when an attorney refers you, or attorney refers a client to you, the bottom line is that's gold. And having said it's gold, what normally happens, and it depends on the type of attorney, it depends on the practice, etc., but there's referral fees involved. Now, in small cases, there may not be a referral fee involved, but the big referral fees, if you think about it, come from attorneys in the personal injury realm. And I know of attorneys, and it's happened to me many years ago, and they weren't quite as significant as they are now. But I know of attorneys right now that every once in a while will get a check for $50,000 to $100,000 from an attorney saying, here is your referral fee on the case you referred to me. We settled it for $5 million, or whatever the case may be. So attorneys understand the referral process, and they understand where referrals might be made. But even saying that there's no referrals to be made, say in a corporation, an attorney charges $1,500 for a corporation, he may or may not send you a referral fee. That's up to each attorney. It's not that significant. But hopefully, if you send an attorney a referral, that attorney hopefully will return the favor and refer you. It's all based on trust. It's all based on the fact that you trust this attorney. You're going to refer cases to him. He's going to refer cases back to you. So the logical question then is, if referrals from attorneys are so great, why don't attorneys get more referrals from other attorneys? Rather than talk in the negative, I'd rather talk in the positive. That is, why is it that attorneys who do get their share of referrals, why do they get them? What is it they do to get these referrals? Rather than talk in the negative, I'd rather be more positive about why attorneys get more referrals from other attorneys rather than why they don't. So the first reason is that they work at it. They spend time cultivating relationships with other attorneys that they can refer to their clients to, and that hopefully that the attorneys they refer clients to, the attorney will reciprocate. Not everyone is going to, reciprocate, obviously, but you've got to start developing those relationships and finding out the attorneys that will, when you refer someone, will reciprocate. Lawyers who get referrals from other attorneys simply know a lot of other attorneys that they refer clients to, and then the attorneys refer clients back to them. One of the things I talk about when I talk to attorneys about knowing other attorneys is I'll just ask them, do you know other attorneys? And obviously the answers are sure I do. I know a lot of them. They know their names, they know what firm they might be in, they know what their specialty is, they know maybe where they went to law school, maybe where they went to college. But do they really know them? Now, when I say that attorneys know a lot of other attorneys, I want to dig a little bit deeper and let you know what I mean by that. And simply this, do you really know them? Do you know their spouse's name and their kid's name? Do you know what social, cultural, charitable organizations they belong to? Do you know what they like to do for fun and hobbies? Now, most likely, you know their names, obviously, and you know probably the firm they was in, and maybe the where they went to law school. But do you really know them? And one of the reasons this is so significant is knowing spouses, knowing kids. Hey, it's happened before. Some of their kids are now in business. Maybe they own companies. You just don't know that. Social, cultural, charitable organizations they belong to. Find out what they like to do. Who are they donating money to or donating time to? Maybe it's something that you would like to get involved in. Maybe you can talk to an attorney and say, I understand that you do a lot of work with veterans. How can I get involved in that type of an organization? Do you know what they like to do for fun, for hobbies? And hey, every once in a while attorneys do have some fun, but that's what I'm talking about. Do you really know them? And most of the attorneys that I talk to, when I pose this question, the answer is, oh, sure, I know a lot of attorneys. And then I go, do you really know them? And that's when I drill down and, all of a sudden it becomes evident that they really don't know that many attorneys. So, where do you find lawyers? So, where do you find these lawyers? Well, first of all, I would suggest bar association meetings, but also bar association section meetings, not the section meetings that is in your area of practice, but step outside of your area of practice and meet lawyers in other areas. Speaking to lawyers, well, let's say that you're a tax lawyer or an intellectual property lawyer. Get speaking engagements where you can talk to other lawyers about what you do, what they need to look for. If you're a tax lawyer, say, how can you help lawyers better save on their taxes? Shared offices, virtuals. There's a lot of shared offices spaces now. One of the best ones right now is Amada here in Chicago, where they have 5 different offices specifically for attorneys located around the city. And I would certainly suggest that you take a look at what they offer. Introductions. If you want to meet a specific lawyer, find someone that knows that lawyer, someone that you know knows that lawyer, and get introduced. And the other thing is right under your nose. I cannot tell you the number of times I've gone into a law firm, say of 15, 20 lawyers, and I'll be talking to a lawyer and I'll say, well, what do the other lawyers in your firm do? And they can tell me. And I say, well, what do you know about these lawyers? And well, yeah, obviously, like I said before, they know where they may have went to law school, they, maybe college, and obviously what their specialty is, but that's about all they know about them. Think about this. Why don't you start inviting lawyers in your own practice area or your own law firm to have coffee with you? And there's a reason I said coffee, and I'll share that with you at some point in time. I think this slide is pretty self-explanatory. Surround yourself with those on the same mission as you have. That is growing your law practice. I'm sure that you may have heard the fortune is in the follow-up, or if you have not heard it, I'm saying it now. Why do anything with regard to getting referrals unless you follow up? Now, there's a specific way to follow up after you meet someone, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but there's also some specific ways to follow up if you get a referral, because if you're given a referral, that person giving you the referral is going to find out exactly how you take that referral and what you do with it. So there are a number of ways that you need to follow up. In fact, there's even a great system for following up. And as I was thinking about this slide, I thought, you know what? I don't have time to go into it all right now, so I'm going to do another presentation in about 2 or 3 days simply just on follow-up because I think it is that important. Just very briefly, once you get a referral, you need to thank that person for the referral. And again, it's not just a simple thank you. As I mentioned with the follow-up, there is a system that you can put in place. And when I talk about systems, I'm not talking about a whole bunch of processes that you need to learn, etc., but just some certain things that you need to do to thank a referral source. If that is, if you want more referrals. I just want to whet your appetite just a little bit here and talk about how you can thank somebody that gives you referrals. There's a lottery. There's referrals you can give. There's contributions you can make to their specific causes. There's gifts that you can make. There's thanking their spouse. Just the old simple thank you. I can just touch on these real quickly, but in the next session that I'm going to do in a couple of days, I'm going to touch on these a little more in detail, so I hope you will listen. I know I've gone rather quickly about getting referrals from both clients and from other attorneys. And I want to share with you a program that I have, and it may be for you, it may not be for you. That all depends. But the bottom line is I have developed what they call, or what I'd like to call, the Lawyer's Academy. And there I teach you how you can get more and better referrals. Now, here is the difference between what I do in my program and maybe what you've experienced with other programs. We have you actually do the work. We assign action items, and you are to complete these action items each and every week. Now, don't panic, because each day the action items I'm going to ask you to do will take maybe an hour, maybe just a little bit more than an hour to do. And we have 2 separate courses. One is 5 weeks long that talks about how do you get referrals from your clients, and we really dig deep into what I've already talked about as far as getting referrals from clients. And also we have a separate 5-week program where we talk about how you can get referrals from other attorneys. And I'm going to do a separate video talking about each program, how it works, what we do, and whether or not it would be beneficial for you. If it's not beneficial for you, then I don't want you to take it. I only want people that are committed to actually saying, Jim, I want to build my practice. Jim, you've taught me briefly that it's the best way to do it is by getting more and better referrals, and I want to commit to doing a program that will get me there. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to this, and I hope that I have provided some really good ideas about how you can get more and better referrals. And what I want to do in the next couple of days, I'm going to prepare another audio session where I'm going to talk about how you need to follow up, the things that you need to do when you're following up. When you get a referral, what do? You don't just call the attorney up and say thank you. There's a whole process that you need to go through. That is, if you want other referrals from that particular referral source, be it a client or be it another attorney. And again, I'm going to put up the slide with regard to our Lawyers Academy, and I hope you will take a look at it. And more particularly, there's the URL to the Lawyers Academy website, if you will, and you can go on that. It gives you a pretty good background of what the Lawyers Academy is. And then also on that particular section, you will see a frequently asked questions section. So if you have any questions, just click on that, and hopefully it'll answer 90% of your questions. I know that there's always some questions that don't get answered, but hopefully most of them will be answered if you go to that frequently asked questions section. One last thing I want to share with you. We all say that we're going to do it. We all are the mindset that, oh, this is great advice. Whether you think it's great advice or you don't. If you don't, well, that's fine. But if you think it's great advice, or some of the things that I've talked about are intriguing, if you will, ideas, when are you going to get around to it? Now think about that. Think about what that means. We all say, well, we'll get around to it one of these days. Why not get around to it right now? Watch for the upcoming audio that I am going to do. It probably will be coming out in about 2, maybe 3 days, and then make a decision on if it's something for you and if you want to go forward with it.